active.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Sodeke, for your comments. And just a reminder that this event is being streamed live on Facebook. It's also live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Number 4.
Thank you very much. My name is Muhammad Ashir Baba. I'm the Director and Head of Public Enlightenment and Education, ICPC. For the benefits of non-ICPC staff here, it's necessary for me to take a quick rundown of some interventions carried out by ICPC in the educational sector so that the key stakeholders present here will know how to support ICPC in reducing corruption in the education sector, because we cannot do it alone. We, ICPC, conducted system study for review in the educational sector with particular reference to universities. And we discovered a lot of infractions, and we submitted the report to the Minister of Education for implementation. We also closed down 62 illegal degree awarding institutions across the country. Well, these are the centers AUHA was alluded to. We formed clubs in secondary schools. We have formed vanguards, as Professor Atairu said. We discovered the nexus, the strong nexus between values and the fight against corruption. That's where we imported the values into the educational sector from the basics up to the university level. We formed the clubs, we introduced the values curriculum, whereby we infused 12 core values, our time-tested, time-honored values into exam-level subjects for teaching across all levels of education. We have done quite a lot that I can continue, to enumerate such. But then, like Professor said, he has not seen people from the university going to jail. My chairman, Professor Bolaji Owasanye, mentioned the professor that we jailed on the account of exam malpractices. There is another professor who specializes in production of fake certificates. That one is also jailed. So many of them. So please, before you say ICPC does not jail, you too need to do your job. You need to inform ICPC of what is happening right in your doorsteps, the academia. I would like to, in conclusion, please give you this number so that, do me a favor, just take down this number, please. I want to empower you so that you get across to ICPC anytime you see any item of corruption. 0800 22, I'll take it gently so that you write it clearly. 0800 22 55 42 72. I repeat, 0800 22 55 42 72. It's 12-digit number. It's not a mistake. It's called ICPC Smart Toll-Free Line. It is linked to other 5 toll-free lines. You can speak to ICPC 24/7. Nobody will charge you a kobo. It's a 12-digit number. It's a smart toll-free line. Please, if you see something, say something. Tell ICPC something so that ICPC will do something, not just to continue to lament. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. So, do we have others who wish to make a comment? All right, Professor Jega is one. There is a lady over there. There's a lady over there. Okay. All right, there's a lady over there. Are you from the NYSC?
Director of Mobilization.
Are you from the NYSC?
She's there.
All right, Director Mobilization NYSC. We hear all kinds of things about people, how they get into the NYSC mobilization. So we'd like to have you make a comment. That will be number 2. There appears to be no one from this end. All right, gentleman over there, number 3, and then number 4. Prof?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. First of all, I want to commend all the panelists for very, very insightful contributions. We know that there are so many challenges, and our hope and aspirations is how these challenges can be addressed and value added to the system. I want to advise or suggest that we have to also be careful in assessing the challenges so that we don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. We have to guard the tendency to excessively generalize. I say this because at least one comment from one of the panelists got me worried, and I think it's Mr. Onyecheri. Yes, there are definitely fake professors, and I know many universities are doing their best to check them. Sometimes some of these people will provide fake certificates, and it takes time to really investigate and confirm that they are fake. And when they are found to be fake, in virtually all cases, in most cases, they are actually thrown out of the system. Maybe they should also be prosecuted. A lot of that is not being done. So, but you linked the fact that there are fake professors in the university system with professors who are appointed to look at, to do election results. And it touched me because I was, in my sojourn in INEC, I was responsible for getting professors to be presiding officers. You know, and there is, I can tell you, there is not a single professor who has gone and done return of results who is a fake professor. So if you connect the fact that there are fake professors in the university system and you generalize, they even do election return, an impression is created that some of these professors were also fake professors. So please let us be careful about excessive generalization. You know, we chose the best and we continue to choose the best to help and add value wherever they can. There are still good professors in the university system. And those good professors want the fake professors to be removed out of the system. But we should not overgeneralize. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Jega, for your intervention. The Director of Mobilization, NYSC, kindly introduce yourself.
Yes, sir. Moderator, distinguished course participant, my name is Victoria Ango. I represent the NYSC. In the 49 years since the establishment of NYSC, millions of graduates passed through our scheme. In the course of interacting with them, we have also observed some corruption in education. Let me mention a few. We have this issue, compulsory sale of items with the inscription of NYSC logo or emblem before issuance of NYSC call-up letter to prospective corps members. Exploitation of graduates with high fees, tagged as NYSC charges before submission of their names for mobilization. Imputation of names of fake graduates by data entering officers or student affairs officers on the list of graduating students for mobilization. Harvest of graduates from unaccredited institutions into the scheme. Then manipulation of date of graduation to favor overage graduates who want to participate in the scheme. The measures we profile in the course of doing our job again, when we identify this, we introduce computerization and printing of call-up letters online to cut off personal interaction with school operators. Introduction of physical verification and administration of simple eligible tests, eligibility tests to fake unqualified foreign trained graduates is in the news. Everybody knows about that. And we have introduced the use of SABAM, that's Senate and Academic Board Approved List Management on our platform. So we have done our own part. But the issue of these fake graduates, all these institutions that have not been accredited, you have them all over, and some corrupt data entry officers will include them in the mobilization list for mobilization. That's our own contribution in the NYSC. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Director of Mobilization. Just to indicate, as I said in the course of this interaction, that we are live on Facebook. We are also, I think, on YouTube, but on Nigerian Television Authority National Network. We understand from our techies that there are at least 2 vice chancellors who are online at the moment and would like to weigh in. If we have them now, I think one is the vice chancellor of Lead University. Kindly introduce yourself, Prof, and let's have your intervention.
I'm Professor Kabir Adere, Vice Chancellor of Lead University and the Chairman Committee of Vice Chancellor of Private University Nigeria. Well, first of all, I have to congratulate the ICPC and JAM for this summit, which I believe will help in the process of building a better nation. And I also know that there's no doubt this is going to give us an holistic way of trying to stop corruption in Nigeria. All the panelists and the keynote speakers are doing very well. Just want to just have few things recommendation, and this include: 1, corruption in Nigeria cannot be eradicated by increasing the number of anti-corruption agencies, but it should be through pragmatic efforts to look towards implementing a more encompassing reform of its political, administrative, and economic operation. Professor Jega mentioned this, and also my the Registrar of JAM, they also mentioned it. There should also be a change of attitude, values, and perception of people towards holding public offices. Like, look at the example given by the Registrar. How can somebody just, went to the office of the Registrar, seeking for assistance? These offices are meant for service delivery and not an avenue for mismanagement, abuse, and looting of treasury. In a nutshell, all stakeholders in the Nigeria project, you cannot afford to sit back, and allow some corrupt individuals to destroy our nation. We should all join in fight against corruption in order for us to hold the destruction of our tomorrow. We should not stop at pontificating or terrorizing here. We should move to the level of generating practical ideas, like what panelists have mentioned, like what the keynote speakers have mentioned, and policies that could be helpful to those in the forefront of this work. Thus, any attempt at eradicating corruption in Nigeria must rest on a comprehensive and sustained system of public accountability that take into account the interactive nature of good institutions, political, economic, legal, family, religious, educational, and cultural values and norms. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor of Lead University from Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Do we have the second Vice Chancellor who was also set to be online? If we have him, let's bring him on. Otherwise, we'll return to the audience. I already assigned number 3. That's the hand that is up there. And then number 4, gentleman here on the second row. Can we have the microphone? Yes.
Yes, okay. Good afternoon, all. My name is Kingsley Ago, and I work with Connected Development. We have an initiative called Follow the Money, which should track our government spending. So my question is actually directed at the panelists. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. We have subjects across schools in Nigeria being taught as a standalone subject. And then we have all identified that corruption is a very big issue bedeviling our nation as a country. But then, when it comes to anti-corruption issues, we would rather have it as an appendage to other subjects, or as a topic to other subjects, or limit it to extracurricular activities as orientation. Don't you think it's high time we have a stand-alone subject on anti-corruption in Nigeria? And that way, it becomes, or it shows our seriousness at curbing corruption in the country. And it also gives us the opportunity to have children being taught everything about anti-corruption, what it looks like, how they are going to report it, and we can begin to build that value system we want to see across our nation. And not just as a subject, but also a subject that JAM would also enter, that a student would have to sit for. So these are my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you. The gentleman in front here. Second row, please. Yes, please go ahead.
My name is Adnan Nahabu, Secretary, Kazana State Teacher Service Board. My contribution is let me first thank the panelists and presenters for doing justice to all the topics that have been presented. However, I want to highlight on the issue of moral corruption, which has been discussed but has not been succinctly disposed. I wish to call on the ICPC to also direct certain percentage of its responsibility on issue of moral corruption, because it's only when one's moral standard is compromised that he can involve even himself into corruption. This is my call. Thank you.
All right, there's a gentleman sitting beside me there. Okay, now we're going to take after him, we will take the last four. You'll be very brief. I hope we can maximize the remainder of the time. We'll come over here. I'm a bit surprised. There's no one from the last column there. I know they say the ICPC, mostly ICPC staff. And ICPC staff earlier spoke. I'm sure there are others who are also behind. So after him, the gentleman in front here, you will be number one. The gentleman in blue, you will be number two. And then there's a lady at the back, I believe. That's right. You'll be number four. The lady who just stood up a while ago. Please go ahead.
The coordinator. I'm Dr. Wapa Williams from National Examination Council, NECO, the Director of Quality Assurance. In the presentation on corruption in primary and secondary education in Nigeria, the presenter said that there should be application of sanctions on erring schools or candidates. I want to give an information on what NECO has been doing over the 4 examinations that we conduct as far as malpractice is concerned within a range of 5 years from 2018 and to 2022. For the National Common Entrance within 2018 to 2021, we did not record. But for this year, 2022, we had 25 candidates being kind of supported by their parents, and we were able to name them in the board through the supervisors. For the BSA, we had for 2018, 152 cases, 2019, 210, 2020, 2 candidates, 2021, 471 candidates, and 2022, 64. For the SSC internal, the June-July, we have for 2018.
I'm sorry to interject, please. What happened to those cases you detected?
They were sanctioned.
Just how?
But I'm just trying to give
the numbers. We may not have the time to absorb all the numbers. Let's say we identified or we caught X number of persons, and these were the sanctions accumulated at, or sanctions still in progress.
Yes. Okay, within that framework, schools were recognized for being agents of aiding and abetting within these 5 years. And supervisors were also blacklisted for aiding and abetting and poor supervision. In fact, for this year, 2022 SSC internal, 29 supervisors were blacklisted, and their names have been written to the commissioners of education as well as our state coordinators. And another thing concerning our accreditation of our schools, we do what we have a validation of accreditation. Our experts will go as first accreditation officers. Then later, 18 independent people will be sent to validate what they have done. And in such cases, we've been able to identify some shabby works. And that's a way of strengthening our quality assurance mechanisms. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc from NECO. Number 2 there, and number 3, that's the lady over there. Number 2, gentleman in blue, and then the lady in beige right at the back, and then the gentleman here in front will be the last.
Okay, thank you, my brother, for recognizing me. My name is Nasiru Auri. I'm the Vice Chancellor at Kalam University, Katsina. The first one is a comment, and the second one is going to be a suggestion. Both are going to be brief. I think the literature is clear. If any society wants to deal with corruption, it has to begin by dealing with corruption in high places. This is because leadership symbolizes, a society generally. And of course, also, a society is usually nurtured by its leadership. Whether this leadership is in government, is in religious institutions, or in our homes. So it's practically impossible to stem lower level corruption without killing corruption in high places. Every day, high government functionaries are caught in billion naira theft. It is difficult in circumstances like this to convince those at the lower level to shun corruption. In 1998-99, I was teaching macroeconomics, and we are looking at shadow economics and its impact on economic aggregates. And I told them that a major player in the shadow economy of Nigeria is corruption. And we have to stop it if we want economic aggregates to grow. A young man raised his hand, and he was serious. He said, no, sir, it's not possible. It's not going to work. I'm about to graduate, I'm in 300 level, and they are telling me corruption must stop. After all we have seen taking place, decade after decade, people making money out of government for nothing. So, sir, I think it's very important, and we can do it, because high-level corruption is visible, and it's easy to catch. Otherwise, these young people graduating from the universities, polytechnics, college of education, they are just preparing to join the corruption industry. Now, in the universities, I think we need to set up something like a corporate governance visitation. This accreditation will not do, because accreditation look at academic programs. But if we have a corporate governance visitation, we look at the leadership in those universities. They will be able to do what visitation panels and annual auditors are unable to do. Look at their books. How much was given to them? How is it spent? How much are they giving departments? How much are they giving faculties and colleges? How are these things spent? How are admissions done? How are departments run? We need a corporate governance visitation in Nigerian universities so that annually they look at how management is done in Nigerian universities.
All right, Vice Chancellor, thank you very much. Corporate governance visitation panels, that will be an enlargement of the existing visitation system. Now, ICPC and the support agencies for this summit invited some students to participate at the summit. And 2 of them, I understand, are standing out there. So we'll give them the opportunity to make their comments. Let me just ask you, do you have any issues or challenges about corruption? Are there things you are scared about corruption? And what do you want to do about corruption? Any of those ones, very briefly. After you, then the young lady.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Starting upon the existing protocol. My name is Yahya Yusuf. I'm from Government Secondary School, Mabushi. First of all, there is a program that my colleague, we are actually undergoing now in the school, and it's called Save the Boys Initiative. So I would like to appeal to ICPC to co-partner with us, because we find out that most of the corruption that is going on in the society, in the community, is because of men or the upbringing of men. So please, I would like the ICPC to partner with us. And also, while we're coming to this place, there's this particular place where they do parking lots. So observing closely with how my teacher was speaking to the man, I observed that civil servants are not supposed to pay for stipends, but that particular man, that gate man, the man that is standing, was actually asking for a TPEX. So it is a corruption in the society, and I'm asking, what are the government doing about it? Because this is a grassroots kind of stuff. So what are the government doing about it? And also, before I came to this place, while we're still in school, one of my teachers met both of us and was telling us that there are so many things that happen in the school. Students, most of them, they are smoking, they are drinking, doing all manner of sexual harassment. So we have been trying to pass the message across to them, but it's like the students, they are not getting the point.
Okay,
So,
all right, thank you very much. And then your colleague wants to say something. You were talking about a security man or a car park attendant. You didn't say he was asking for a tip, or did I hear you say tipex? Tipex is different. You know, when we used to use typewriter, there was one white substance you bring to erase. It's different from a tip. So he was asking for a tip. So get that. Thank you very much for your intervention. So, young lady, quickly.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Signing on the exit protocols, I just want to add to what the woman said. She said that teachers are not supposed to collect money for other things they are doing. And she also said that their salaries are not enough. But I don't blame them for what they are doing. If you offer a hungry man money, there is no way he will not accept it. The teacher's salary have to be increased. In that eradicates the rate of corruption in the country. If we do
You are soaking in the applause. All right, continue.
we deal with the teachers, then we can move on to the student. Like the young man said, we have to put it as a subject. As my colleague also said, if we put it as a subject for the student will know the consequences of all their actions and how they should stop it in the society. This is what I have to add to it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. There is a lady at the back there. That will be the last comment. The lady at the back, I identified that she was wearing a beige,
very much
a beige dress, I believe. Right. Oh, okay.
My name is Evelyn Obekpa. I'm the Public Relations Officer of Veritas University, Abuja. I have a few points to add to the discussion here. First, I want to emphasize the role of traditional leaders in this. Their place is very key and they could not be ignored. So when we are having a dialogue session like this, please do extend invitation to them. Thank you. And number two is looking at the picture over there reminds me of my participation in the Part F project, promoting accountability and transparency in the homegrown school feeding program under the funding of MacArthur Foundation. Imagine MacArthur funding was not involved in this. Many things were discovered. What if there was no funding of the accountability and transparency of the homegrown school feeding program? What would that happen? What would have become of the homegrown school feeding program with all the errors and things that were discovered? I also need to say here that we need to define the topic corruption in a manner that the little ones seated here would understand, and they will be able to communicate it to their colleagues back there in school. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks. I'm sorry, there's a gentleman, his hand has been up several times, but that will be the last. Gentleman just by the aisle, yes.
Thank you, moderator. My name is Professor Mukhtar Kurawa. I'm the Vice Chancellor, Yusuf Metimasi University in Kano. At the same time, I'm the Chief External Examiner for JAM in Kano since 2017. I also serve as a member of the 10th Governing Board of JAM and also serve as the Chairman of the Examination Admission Subcommittee of the 10th Governing Board of JAM. Actually, a lot have been said here, and there is the need for this, for us, all of us here, to ask ourselves a question. Before my appointment as the Vice Chancellor, I served as Director of Kano State Polytechnic, where I met an institution which was on the verge of total collapse. Certificate racketeering is the order of the day. And like the registrar made mention, sometimes it takes very long time for cases to be disposed of in courts of law. We identify some of that institution which are involved in such racketeering. We took them to court, but it took very long time for the cases to be disposed of, because there's the need for cases to be addressed quickly. Sometimes when we are unable to get conviction from the court, we simply refer the cases to the governing council, and such kind of stuff are terminated, that their services are no longer required. Now, the last question I just wanted to ask to all of us here taking part in this summit, a lot of problems have been identified. Corruption in the education sector have been shortlisted. The question comes in differently, and I want to commend the General Registrar for taking part in this and for showing the whole nation that it can be done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chancellor. I know we can go on and on. I've seen a few hands still up. We can go on and on, but there has to be a delimiter on this interaction. Some issues have arisen from your interventions. The conversation will continue on several other platforms and fora. I will give the panelists an opportunity to indicate their closing thoughts and respond directly, if they wish, to any of the issues raised. I know Mrs. Okodua, there was a question that was asked about the linkage between UBEC and SUBEB, and I also spoke about that in my introductory comments as to how we do not appear to be getting sufficient value for money on account of UBEB interventions in the state. So, Mrs. Okodua, 1 minute, Dr. Lakoju, 1 minute, Professor Oloride, 1 minute, Onyechere rather, 1 minute, and then we'll call it time on this segment of the summit.
Thank you very much. The SUBEB and UBEC issue. In 2014, ICPC did a corruption risk assessment of MDG-related MDAs and education, water, health, education, and education was one of them. We focused majorly on UBEC and SUBEBs. And one of the things that arose from that study was that there was this issue of coordination. What I recommended there was to improve. It didn't say that it doesn't exist at all. One can always do, with improvement in any situation. I don't want to belabor the point. I want to also say something about the finding out information. Let me give you the ICPC web. Sorry, I'm an old ICPC staff and I'm forever ICPC. So ICPC, ICPC for life, like Gunners will say Gunners for life. I am ICPC for life. So ICPC website address is www.icpc.gov.ng. You'll find it in any one of those publications that you have in your bag. It's always, you can always visit the website to find out up-to-date information about enforcement issues, prevention issues, people that have gone to jail, cases that are still being prosecuted, and so on and so forth. That's just information. I also want to respond to Mr. Kingsley Agu on making the values curriculum a standalone subject. When ICPC went into this in 2003, 2004, NERDC, that is the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council, that is the statutory body in charge of curricula in Nigeria, in the country. They advised that they didn't want to make it a standalone subject because if they did, then you find that they will now be giving the children the option of choosing that or another subject. So we thought it was going to be more effective if we put it into, across a number of subjects, that there is no way the child will not run across those values in those subjects. It's, for example, it's in English language. Every child has to do English. And so now you have them writing stories on moral issues rather than just writing how I spent my last holiday. You have them reading comprehension that's, tilted, skewed to speak to values and so on and so forth. It's in accounting, business studies, it's in CRS, that's Christian Religious Justice, IRS, and so on and so forth. So they advised we shouldn't make it standalone.
Thank you. Next, Dr. Lakoju.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I think a very critical area of collaboration between ICPC and colleges of education and polytechnics is the area of shutting down illegal institutions across the country. And there are so many that they have been able to discover and shut down. But you see, I am personally very worried about that. Professor Oloride is here. Every year we have well over 1 million students, candidates who register for JAMB. And at the end of the day, we are not able to absorb even half of the qualified students. Now, the wastage rate is so heavy, And every new year, new graduates from secondary schools and all of that, and new entrants to JAMB are added to that wastage rate. Now, the question I ask, what are we going to do as a country with this number that we are not able to absorb in our institutions? Now, I had thought, for instance, that instead of shutting down these illegal institutions, we should probably get a way of sitting with them to find out exactly how we can make them productive, legal, and accommodative, so that we can take out so many of the wastage that we would have had in JAMB. So I thought that shutting them just like that may not just be a good idea, even though they are polluting the system and they are a serious corruption index.
Okay.
But I think sincerely that we should look at how we can utilize them instead of just shutting them down outrightly.
Thank you very much, Dr. Professor Ishaq Oloyede.
Thank you very much. Let me disagree with my brother, Dr. Lakoju. You can't build something on nothing. If something is bad and you say, let us do it, you are encouraging such a continuation of such a thing. And generally, people believe, where JAMB has tried to say that when people say 1 million people applied for JAMB for entrance into the university and only about 50% taken and so on, it's not totally correct. Because you are talking about not candidates who are qualified for admission. You are talking about candidates who apply. Some of them are SS1 students. Some of them are students who are about 10-20% of them are degree holders who want to go to medicine, who want to go to law, who want to do some other things after they have taken the first degree. So we shouldn't just take the absolute number and then subtract those admitted and think those people that are left. Again, by the time you admit 500, 600,000 every year, you will see that what remains of these candidates, in terms of data, in terms of facts, they are there. Apart from that, there are universities like a National Open University that students who will not gain admission. I'm not talking of rigid candidates. Rigid candidates are the candidates that medicine or nothing, law or nothing, and so on. I'm not talking about those ones. But those who just want to have their general degree, I think the problem is not as high as we are. And finally, Mr. Moderator, I believe it's a sign of failure that you rush to the curriculum whenever you face a problem. Education itself, it is a standard education. It should be education that is adaptable to change. When there is an accident on the road, you say incorporate ICPC road safety. When there is COVID, incorporate COVID. When there is this, it means it's a sign that education is failure. And that's why I agree with the submission that we can infuse some of these ideas of morality, of good values and so on into all subjects rather than creating pockets of what I would call emergency curriculum, because it shows that education is not working. Education should be for a type of education that is adaptable to changes and will not require having to recreate the curriculum in order to make the education useful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. First, I want to thank Professor Jega for the issue he raised about professors. Well taken. However, I think in this world, today's world of the internet that doesn't forgive or doesn't forget, please, I think we need to do more about close-out reports. For example, I don't know what has happened to those 100 fake professors. Were they taken to court or thereabout? There are issues of some people that I think ICPC called them the part of the supermarket Procedural we talked about, who are plagiarizing theses, who are plagiarizing and selling theses to students. I think there are 27 of them. One needs to see a closure to that kind of thing. There is also the legal institutions. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, instead of managing them, they need to be prosecuted. Those are the kind of things. So if you have closure to those kind of stories, it will help. But leaving them open-ended, even with the judicial problems that we have, something needs to be done. Because we need to mobilize stakeholders, we need to inspire them that there will be closure. Then the issue of NECO and reporting blacklisted supervisors to your states and so on and so on, that is just paper tiger. But because for 26 years, I've been saying it. These state governments employ these your supervisors. You sanction them, you send it to them. They recycle them. Most of those supervisors are doing a job. It's a racket, it's a gang. Even those who appoint them, before they post you to school, they post you to lucrative schools. You know what I mean? And you make returns. So when you send them back, they recycle them. The next time they are still supervisors. And you know that. Otherwise, that is why the whole thing about this blacklist is a routine. 2007, I headed a tax team of Federal Ministry of Education, and we produced 342 magic centers. We produced over 200 supervisors, and we worked together with all the exam bodies, JAM, WAEC, NECO, and that blacklist is the only blacklist that is the one first and the only one, because it was published in the national newspapers. And it gives every person to know that this person has been blacklisted and so on and so forth. This one we are talking about, the whole thing is swept under the carpet. If we are serious about blacklist, we should relaunch the issue of generalized blacklist, publish it, advertise it, have an online register. Then we know we are serious about it.
Mr.
One more point, sir.
No.
The issue of greed.
Issue of what, please?
Greed. I don't think corruption is because we don't have money or people don't have money. If we put money, I think corruption is a function of greed. The more money people have, the more corrupt they take to become to make more money. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. And so that will be it for the conversation segment. At this summit, we'd like to thank Mr. Ike Onyechere. He was just speaking a moment ago. Professor Ishaq Oloyede, Registrar JAMB, to my immediate left, to my immediate right, Dr. Honorable Tunde Rakoju, and then to my far right, Mrs. Rashidat Okodua. She says she's ICPC for life.
Yes.
I'm sure she's in a position to say that now because a team that brags that it is that for life is doing pretty well in the Premier League. So we'll see how things go round about Christmas time and then in the winter period of the Premier League. We'd like to please urge you to appreciate our team of panelists for the useful insights that they have brought into today's conversation. And I hand over to the Master of Ceremonies, Kingsley Osadolo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley Osadolo, the moderator, and all our distinguished panelists. We thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to call on the Secretary to the ICPC, Professor Musa Osman Abubakar, as he comes to give us a vote of thanks. Professor Abubakar, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
The Honorable Chairman, all other protocols duly observed. On behalf of the Board and the management of the ICPC, we thank Mr. President Muhammad Buhari for his support to the Commission and for particularly honoring our invitation and recognizing this year's Public Service Integrity Award, Chief Superintendent of Police Daniel Isse Ama. We thank the Chairman, House Committee on Anti-Corruption for honoring our invitation. We wish to especially thank our worthy partners in this endeavor, that is the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board. Your invaluable commitment to this collaboration will not go unnoticed. To our distinguished special guest, Honorable Minister of Education, the Chief of Staff to Mr. President, the DG NIA, Chairman NDLEA, IGP, that is Inspector General of Police, traditional rulers, CSOs, labor unions, including ASU, students, and the media men. Our keynote speaker, Professor Jega, we cannot thank you enough. Your presentation is a clear manifestation of your firm grasp of the subject matter of this year's summit. To our moderator and the panelists, your insightful and impactful contributions to this discourse will no doubt serve as takeaways for the delegates. I will not forget to congratulate this year's awardee, Chief Superintendent of Police, Daniel Ama. We appreciate all the Vice Chancellors, Directors, Provosts, and heads of regulatory agencies in the education sector. We also appreciate chairmen and secretaries of anti-corruption agencies and commission of states, commissioners, PAMSECs of state ministries of education, and a host of other important dignitaries too numerous to mention. Finally, we appreciate all the officers and staff of the ICPC who have worked assiduously in making this event a reality. We wish everybody journey mercy. Thank you.
Okay. I don't know if you don't want to do it or secretary.
No, Chairman.
Chairman. Let me call Chairman. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor Musa Usman Abubakar. Before we rise and close for the day, the chairman of the ICPC will be showing special appreciation to some distinguished people here, the panelists and some others. So please permit me to respectfully call on the chairman. Sir, just there. I call on Professor Atahiru Jega to please approach the chairman for a handshake. Professor Ishak Oluyede. Mr. Ike Onyechere, MFR. Mrs. Rashidat Aduni Okodwa, MNI.
Osadolo last. Honorable Dr. Tunde Lakoju. And Mr. Kingsley Osadolo Esquire. Mike. We will now take a group photograph, members of the commission and the chairman of the ICPC, a group photograph, and thereafter we'll bring this ceremony to a close with the national anthem.
Through 2023 elections. This message from the National Orientation Agency.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Hello, welcome to an update of the news on NTA International. I am Musbal Nanwahab. President Muhammad Buhari says corruption in any sector hinders development, and that explains why, since the inception of his administration, fighting corruption has been total. The president stated these at the opening of the ICPC 4th National Summit on diminishing corruption in public sector with the theme Corruption and the Education Sector. The president, who mentioned the measures put in place by governments in making schools safe, acknowledged the various corruption in tertiary institutes, and assured of government's continuous funding of the education sector. He charged the media to serve as a watchdog, and private sector should assist in the development of the sector.
The Open Government Partnership and adopted the Open Government Declaration, under which we committed to have robust anti-corruption policies, mechanisms, and practices that ensure transparency in the management of public finances and procurement of law.
Meanwhile, President Muhammad Buhari is to present the 2023 appropriation bill to a joint session of the National Assembly on Friday, the 7th of October 2022. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, read the executive communication and announced that the budget presentation will take place at the temporary chamber of the House of Representatives by 10 o'clock in the morning. And North Korea has fired a suspected missile over Japan in what appears to be a deliberate escalation to get the attention of Tokyo and Washington. The ballistic missile traveled about 4,500 kilometers before falling into the Pacific Ocean, far enough to hit the U.S. island of Guam if it took another trajectory. It is the first North Korean missile launched over Japan since 2017. The launch saw Japan issue a real alert to some citizens to take cover. Meanwhile, Brazil entered the final stretch of a deeply polarized presidential race Monday after an inconclusive first voting round put far-right incumbent Jair Bolsonaro in an unexpected strong position. Bolsonaro, 67-year-old, garnered 43% of Sunday's first-round votes compared to 48% for leftist frontrunner Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, a 5-point difference that polls have predicted will be a much larger gap of 14 points. Ex-President Lula, 46-year-old, had appeared to be within arm's reach of taking the election in the first round with more than 50% of the votes, but the race now heads to a runoff on October 30. And those are just some of the stories trending on this hour. Thanks a lot for your time.
Nigeria's 62nd independence anniversary celebrations over the weekend, to many, has brought to the fore the key elements crucial to the corporate well-being and continued vitality of the nation: security, economic stability, national cohesion, domestic competence in manufacturing, and qualitative research. A present that offers hope, expectation, and excitement for a much better future. These, many may think, are just wishes, but the savvy and the ready know that in a few short months, another opportunity presents itself for the reset at different levels of governance to determine the course of the nation. The course the nation will take for another 4 years. The politicians are already out and about. The citizens are calm and discerning. The latest brotherhood of the ballot offers a wide range of possibilities for a nation poised to take another plunge into the waters of destiny. The question is, will it sink or swim? This is Political Update, NTA's eclectic political ensemble that keeps you abreast of happenings in the nation's political scene. I am Fisayo Ogunfuyi. Welcome. We begin with campaigns. A political movement tagged Ashiwaju Project Beyond 2023 is wooing more support for the Tinubu-Shettima ticket for presidency in 2023.
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima's presidential ticket on the platform of All Progressives Congress APC is fast gathering momentum. This time around, the Asiwaju project beyond 2023 is mobilizing Nigerians to stand on the mandate of APC presidential candidate.
Asiwaju is not centered on ethnicity. Whenever you are saying we must go for it. It's in the collective way. They have no record of discrimination between tribal groups in Nigeria. They have demonstrated capacity to develop education, develop the economy, build bridges, build leaders.
This message you are hearing here, we are taking it down to the grassroots because elections are not won in Abuja. Elections are won at the grassroots.
When it comes to gender issues, we all know that Jagaban is not biased on that. And you can see even his wife is a politician. He is somebody that encourages women to get involved into politics.
The group says it is working out modalities to encourage massive participation of Nigerians in APC campaign at all levels, with success in sight come 2023.
The presidential candidate of the new Nigeria People's Party, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, was in Jos preparatory to his presidential campaigns. He was received by his supporters from across Plateau State.
The new Nigerian People's Party presidential candidate commenced his campaign with the official inauguration of his campaign office in the state. He was accompanied by the governorship candidate of the party in Bauchi State, Haliru Dauda Jika, and other NMPP stalwarts who accorded him a rousing welcome to the state.
Our strategy normally is to allow people to continue to underrate us. Our politics is on the ground, not in the air.
Rabi Musa Kwankwaso came into Plateau State to commission our offices and also to pay some visits to some stakeholders in the state and also to meet with the Plateau people, and also to introduce our party officially, and also to let our people know in the state that NNPP, that's New Nigerian People's Party, has come to stay in Plateau State.
The NNPP presidential flag bearer, who addressed the media, felicitates with Nigerians on the 62nd independence anniversary of the country, urging citizens to celebrate the tremendous progress made so far. He expressed optimism that with good leadership, more would be achieved. He also encouraged all to be steadfast, patriotic, and maintain peace ahead of the 2023 general elections.
The Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has resolved to end the internal squabbles within the party as quickly as possible. The resolution was made during a peace-building meeting between the board members and the party's vice presidential candidate, Delta State Governor, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa.
The Senator Adolphus Wabara-led Board of Trustees of the PDP met with the Vice Presidential candidate Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa with one agenda: resolving the party's internal crisis. The meeting was held behind closed doors at the Delta State Governor's Lodge, Asokoro, Abuja.
We will be meeting with the principal, anytime from now. And from there we will then move to meet Governor Wike. We have what it takes to resolve the problems that special grace of God.
We've been talking with ourselves, and I believe that there's still a little work to be done, but a lot has been done, and we are likely reconciled. There are still issues to be dealt with, and that's why you've seen the visits of the leaders of the party, the Board of Trustees. We have had very useful discussions on what they could do and what we ought to continue to do as a party.
The acting chairman of the PDP BOT, Senator Adolphus Wabara, under the banner of PDP BOT Special Reconciliation Committee, has been visiting the party's leaders and stakeholders towards resolving the ongoing crisis rocking the PDP. Meanwhile, the executive members of the PDP New Generation, led by their Director General Audu Mahmoud, as part of Nigeria's 62nd Independence Anniversary celebration, has enjoined the citizenry to allow democracy to flourish for the benefit of all. emphasizing that the PDP new generation has a formidable structure across the country and remains committed to the task of delivering 5 million votes to the Atiku Okowa ticket and success of all PDP candidates across Nigeria. The committee enjoined PDP members to embrace peace and unity of purpose.
Our guest this week is Honorable Shamsuddin Dambazao of the Takai Sumaila Federal Constituency of Kano. He says he provides a ready example for young politicians to make a mark in a creative and non-aggressive manner.
A 3 days workshop will equip participants on how to improve, maintain and sustain their small-scale businesses. During the workshop, open member of the House of Representatives representing Takai and Sumaila Federal Constituency, Honorable Shamsuddin Bello Dambazao, says his major priority is humanitarian service.
Prior to having these issues, I have always built and banked and campaigned on 3 things. This is what I call the triple E: education, economic development, and empowerment. So this is part of what I've been doing this ever since I got into office. This is not the first time I'm doing this. I've done this uncountable times.
I urge participants to make judicial use of what they learned and the properties given to them.
All the beneficiaries that they should not sell these items. They should use them judiciously.
The participant thanks the lawmaker for the gesture, which they said will improve their livelihood, and assured that they will make good use of the equipment and funds given to them. At the end of the 3 days workshop, more than 100 participants are expected to be empowered with knowledge on entrepreneurial skills and modern ways of boosting their business.
The time is upon us when candidates begin to show their credentials to Nigerians in terms of choices to make in 2023. When talking about voting, it seems the younger generation has become more involved in the processes in the last few elections. Member representing Sumaila Takai Federal Constituency of Kano State, Shamsuddin Dambazao, joins us today on Political Update. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
The first time we had this conversation, the last time you came, you made, not say promises, but you hoped that you make some impact on your people. Have you been able to do this?
So thank you for having me on the show. I am grateful to God because I would say about 90% of the promises that I've made to my constituents have come to pass, and we still hope to complete the rest before the year runs out.
Well, for some people maybe on the cynical or skeptic side of things, they will be saying, it's an issue of privilege. But some will say, it's a younger generation. Have you found some form of hurdles or brick wall in your conversations with your constituents, and you needed to impress them newly? Not the credentials you have from your background, but your credentials based on your representation.
Yes, I think as individuals, there's no way you can separate the apple from the tree. Even if it falls from the tree, you know that the apple came from the tree. So you cannot deny your heritage, you cannot deny where you come from. What is important is the foundation that you have. What are you building on top of it? Are you improving the legacy, or are you doing actions that are detrimental to what has been built? For me, and the kind of training and upbringing, I want you to know that I am a product of the system, meaning that I attended public schools. I went to a public nursery school, I went to a public primary school, I went to a public secondary school, and I started BUK. I got to level 2, but when I was going to level 3, I left. So I'm a product of the system through and through.
For greener pastures or lighter green pastures?
Well, what I wanted to study was not available here. I had a change in direction, and so I decided to go elsewhere. So, but to make my point, I haven't had any challenge in convincing or having the feel to convince people of what I'm here for. My people know exactly what I'm about and the passion I have for our country and my constituency in particular.
Okay, let me delve into some of your activities. What were the needs you identified in your constituency, and how have you been able to ameliorate the challenges of the people?
Okay. So the main issues that I have identified, firstly, is that of a lack of the capacity to think outside the box. What I mean by this is a lot of the youth, my fellow youth, have gravitated towards reliance on the government for work, for employment, for sources of income. So I took it as a challenge and a task to educate them that, look, you have all these other opportunities surrounding you. You have the farming, you can go into produce, into different sectors. You can use your brain, you can learn a trade. In order for you to provide yourself, you must not always badger people on trying to get a job from the government, because the government itself is overwhelmed. So I took that as a task to teach them things like that. And then I also focused on education, because I believe anything that is primary, you know that it is of the highest relevance, and it is the foundation. And I noticed that if we do not have proper education and we don't find ways to eliminate the level of ignorance that is persisting within the society, then we will not get to that level of economic development that we want. We've studied what people like Paul Kagame, people like Lee Kuan Yew, what they've done, Mahathir Mohamad, to name a few, how they focused on education, and there's a direct correlation between increasing the quality of education, the level of education and literacy in a society, and with economic development. So I focused on building more schools, classrooms, providing furniture, because I met a lot of students sitting on the floor. So we've done a lot of projects to provide furniture for them, textbooks, classroom blocks, renovation, and in the future we're hoping to introduce some type of training programs as well for the teachers. And I want to also make some recommendations where maybe if they're indigenous students or anybody that's willing to sign up for such a federal government program, that instead of going to NYSC and sitting down at some desk in NNPC, etc., or where people usually would like to gravitate towards, it should be that you are obligated to go to the classroom across the 774 local governments in Nigeria. I think this will give some type of boost to the quality of education that we are offering at the basic level.
I'm happy that I finished the NYSC before you brought this. But let's look at some other aspects of your plan.
Okay.
The expectation of the Nigerian over a while has been the issue of, if a politician is coming, draw down your tinted glass and then give us something that the boys can use to at least what they call hold body for some time. If you're not doing that and you're talking education and all this, are you sure that you have really reached the heart of the youths in this context, especially if people across the fence in other parties are actually putting some liquid on the floor?
Okay, you make a very good point, and that is why I came back to the first thing that I mentioned about creating awareness. So we can go back to, let's say, the Jahiliyyah period of Islam, when the Prophet ﷺ, before he started preaching, there was this practice where the men of Saudi Arabia, whenever they had a daughter, they would take her to the desert, dig the sands, and bury that daughter alive, because they had their own cultural reasons for that. But when he came, he was from among them, but he now came with a message and created awareness. And everybody knows today that does not happen again. We can take the story of Mary Slessor when she went to Calabar and stopped the killing of twins, because there was this cultural perception. But with awareness today, I am sure that there are no people killing twins in Calabar, and if there is, then the percentage is minute. So the point I am making is that I have put in that awareness, I have campaigned, and I have constantly hammered on the same issue, and I promise you, when I go to my constituency, whenever I come out, my crowds are organic. As I am moving with one car, if I come in with one car, before I go out of my constituency, you see maybe 50, 60, depending on the event, or you see people coming.
Their own cars?
Yes. Like some of them, they are doing public transportation, like that, so they will come out in droves, or they'll be on foot.
Let me not, let me question, because of time is not our friend. What are you going to do differently? Why should we tell you, why should we say, okay, come back?
Well, it's not really about come back. Whatever I have been doing as an honorable member did not start from me being an honorable member. I've been doing it even before I became a councillor, even before I ran for local government chairman, and even after. These are things that I am truly concerned about, that give me personal fulfillment to engage in these types of activities. So with the opportunity to serve my country, and with the capacity that we have shown through passion, compassion, empathy, and concern for the masses and our people, I think my work will speak for itself.
The All Progressive Congress in Kano State had some push and pull, some push and shove in the course of last year and getting to the beginning, earlier parts of the year. Is it a common front now as we push towards the 2023 general election?
Yes, Fisayo, I can confidently tell you that the APC in Kano is united, and we're working diligently towards achieving the victory of Nasir Yusuf Gawuna as governor and Bola Ahmed Asiwaju Tinubu as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And finally, you have done a turn, and what will be your word to your constituents at this time? And youth politicians who might want to follow this line, they're seeing you and they're like, this man is not much older than me, what can I do? 2023 is around the corner, if not now, but when next?
Right, well, to be honest, there's no set formula for these things. But I think for me personally, I'm passionate about what I'm doing, and the opportunity presented itself, and I grabbed it.
Is it a case of double joy or double jeopardy? The Labour Party senatorial candidate for Benue Northwest Senatorial District, Mark Bila, has kicked against the listing of his name as a candidate of the new Nigeria People's Party NNPP contesting the same seat as indicated in the list of contestants for the 2023 general elections recently released by INEC. Mark Bila, a serving member representing Gwa West and Gwa East in the House of Representatives, described the double listing as an error in a parley with pressmen.
Candidates for the 2023 general elections indicated my name as the candidate for both Labour Party and New Nigeria People's Party (NNPP) for the Benue Northwest Senatorial District elections. This publication was erroneous and without my knowledge, and I have since initiated necessary legal action against INEC and NNPP in order to correct this grievous error, which is alleged to have occurred because of NNPP's inability to upload the name of their replacement candidate to the INEC portal within the timeline provided by INEC, and INEC's publication of the last name sent by NNPP without taking into cognizance my resignation of membership and withdrawal as candidate of the NNPP for the Benue Northwest Senatorial District election, which was accompanied by an affidavit I deposed to in this regard on the 7th of July 2022.
The PDP candidate for the same seat is incumbent Governor Samuel Otom. Now that campaigns for the 2023 elections have kicked off, the Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room has appealed to politicians to make their campaigns issue-based, present sound and convincing proposals to alternative solutions to issues that are of utmost concern to Nigerians.
the impartiality of every of the candidates to look at their background.
The Civil Society Situation Room believes that even in the face of the new Electoral Act, the various laws of the land and the penal code must be adhered strictly to within the electioneering campaign period. Situation Room resolved to closely monitor all the electioneering campaigns by political parties and their candidates.
That going to 2023, we are going to be watching keenly who is violating and what laws, who have been held accountable. We will demand accountability for every step of the way. To the citizens, Situation Room has observed that the activities of party supporters on the social media, we have observed that and advised supporters to desist from cyberbullying and other forms of online intimidation.
Center for Transparency Advocacy is a civil society watchdog expecting that campaigns and manifestos would be tailored towards only the things that would further enhance the peace and unity of the country.
We expect that the political atmosphere will be charged. It is imperative, therefore, that political parties make their campaigns issue-based and convince Nigerians to vote for their candidates based on sound proposals of alternative solutions to the issues that are utmost concern to Nigerians.
Meanwhile, a civil society organization on the banner of FAGWORD is urging Nigerian youth to take the 2023 political activities seriously, stating that it would greatly determine a lot in the nation's destiny. Trading on votes is anti-democratic. The youth therefore advised to play according to the rules.
That's a report on watching the vote and even the behavior of the followers concludes the political update for today. It is time to tell you, of course, the candidates that you can come, of course, the NTA and be a part of the political update. We want to know exactly what you have for the people from the party perspective as well as the candidates as the time, of course, is now. My name is Fisa Ogunfuyo, who is urging you to play your politics for the greater good and keep it locked on the Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's finest and largest, for news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.